Hiya. Um, I had a little nudge yesterday from a subscriber who just asked how I was. They sort of give me a bit of a kick up the backside again to come on here and do a bit of a little bit of an update. So yeah, I can't believe it's almost the end of August already. This year has gone by in a blur. I've been struggling a little bit with since my mum passed away. My stepfather's been very lonely, and it's something I want to talk about at some stage. Also about death, dying, all those kind of really uncomfortable subjects, and I haven't been able to actually do that, to come on here without getting really emotional. So I have taken a bit of a step back. But I saw something the other day. I've had a bit of a bit of a fallout with a friend, and I came across this this piece by. I was looking for something else entirely, and you know how things just kind of a bit of serendipity, synchronicity. I'm not quite sure what it is, but things just fall into your lap sometimes. And I thought, this is something that is close to my heart, and I want to read it to you because it's about when you've had a fallout, about keeping your options open. Okay, it's by Jeff Brown, who I have read some of his stuff before, and it's called Inquiry is the Bridge, and it's from his book Hearticulations. I really love the way he writes. It really gets me in the heart. So he says, when valued personal relationships go silent, trouble often follows. I'm not talking about productive timeouts that are clearly expressed. I'm talking about the silence that's reactive or an attempt to do harm. Okay? This kind of silence ensures that the connection will not find its way back to health, because silence fosters confusion, projections, and worst of all, assumptions about what the other is feeling or thinking. An assumption doesn't get us anywhere good. Inquiry does. Assumptions ensure that the wall will only get thicker until there's no way to reconnect. Whatever you do, even if you're justifiably angry, try to keep the door to inquiry open. You might not be ready to process the experience, but allow for the possibility that you will one day, because valued connections are hard to find in this crazy world. And isn't that the truth? If a relationship's important to you, don't just slam the door. That's my bit, my input, okay? Anger doesn't have to be the end of the story. Sometimes it's the portal to a closer connection. Sometimes it's the way through to greater learning. Inquiry is the bridge. I want to add to that, though. Both parties have to be willing to accept their part in whatever happened, okay? If you had a fallout, it's never just one person's fault, okay? You might react in anger to something and regret it. You might retaliate because you're feeling hurt, okay? But if you just kind of throw all your toys out of the cot, there is no way back. And I'm not saying that that's always, sometimes it's for a good reason. Sometimes they say, don't they, that, that people come into your life for a reason or a season, a lesson or a blessing. Maybe it's time to actually close the door on that part of your life, but it doesn't have to be closed with animosity. I think if there's a willingness to be kind, to be considerate of the other person's point of view, and not just dismiss it because you're angry, there can be a way forward, and you can get closure without having to go back there. And it's a lot easier. It isn't, then, because if you part on bad terms, if you close the door on bad terms, it eats away at you, and it does, like it says in there, the wall gets thicker. Okay, fosters confusion, projections, etc. Okay, so if you want to avoid that, you have to keep the door of communication open. You have to keep an open mind, and put yourself in the position of an observer. This is something I learned when I was doing my hypnotherapy training, where you kind of take yourself out of your thoughts, okay, and you look at, from the point of view of an observer, looking at your reaction, their reaction, and trying to, just observe your part in what happened, okay? And if you, I don't know what we've got here. If you're guilty, put your hands up and acknowledge that. Apologise. Don't grovel. Don't grovel. There's always two sides. There's always two sides to an argument. And somebody might be hurting. However, it's important to acknowledge that the other person has a valid point of view as well. Sorry. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, really. I'll be back again because I do feel like I can talk about the thing, and I want to talk about dementia as well. Got a family member who's definitely on that road, and it's become very obvious in the last couple of weeks. It's suddenly like huge decline in short-term memory, and it's happened really fast, and it's concerning. So I want to talk about that, and if anybody's got any comments, please, I love to get your comments, so you can pop them in the box below. And thank you for everybody who's still here, still watching, and I really appreciate each and every one of you, really, and especially those people who've kept in touch, and just by commenting, because it just, well, it helps to motivate me, if I know that I'm not just talking to myself, and that there are other people there that kind of it just feels like having a conversation with friends, to be fair. And so I hope I'll be back soon, and thanks for being here. Take care. Bye.